Hello everyone and welcome back. This is Endoralis and this video is going to be about the first parts and the first to third parts of the Invitation to New Valhalla spoilers that were released by Force of Will. Now, these spoilers, of course, I waited a second for them to all come out because the first spoiler actually didn't have much and the second spoiler wasn't even that much better. But the third spoiler really opened the box, and that actually leads to the other thing that they have set up, which is the new Valhalla Force of Will website, which is going to be in another video, and I'll go over all that with you guys together because that one was a little bit more in-depth and that requires a little bit more effort. But we're going to first go over the first part. So the first portion of the spoilers was effectively them announcing that, well, this is the new cluster, and they were announcing new Valhalla cluster's name. They were announcing that they've been going over all this little stuff and why they did decisions for this and why they did decision for that. So they go over the fact that at the beginning, rulers weren't supposed to be a big sacred thing to build your deck around. It was something you're supposed to have, and it was supposed to make you, get your will easier. But the main point of the rulers was they had little abilities, and then if you ever flipped them, they died. You lost half your life, and they didn't have their abilities anymore. Then they got rid of that, and they got imperishable, which was an ability they add to J rulers afterwards, so that J rulers were a little stronger. And then when they died, they came back. You still lost half your life or whatever, but they died and came back and died and came back. That's what like Dracula had. Then they moved from that to like the newer rulers in the Alice and Lapis clusters, where rulers became stronger and stronger. And eventually, they end up banning Prisia. So they were like, "Oh, we don't want a Prisia to happen again." So that's not really fun. And then they eventually go off and say, well, we tried to dial back rulers and give them special abilities. Outside of that, they got rid of the whole them losing their abilities when they die rule, and then instead made it where the ruler just has other abilities outside of when they flip, they do something and they kill you. So that's how they end up getting the sealed abilities. But apparently people, even their own company, had problems with remembering the sealed abilities. So they decide, okay, we can't be doing that anymore. Even though it was really fun, and they really liked the alternative art, because I know I did. So we go from the first one, they go, okay, this is what the new one's going to be. It's going to be new, it's going to be different. And instead, they're going to have 10 rulers. 10 rulers at the very beginning. There will be no new rulers in any of the other sets. Many of you already know that. But what they're going to try and do, and they have this little like chart. Oh, I'll put a chart here. They put a little chart here that's basically saying, hey, this is what we're planning on doing. If any ruler is weak, they'll give them support in the next set, and any ruler is strong, they give them less support in the next set. Via being by boom, that's basically what they're doing. So they're gonna have 10 rulers, and each ruler is gonna be like in a deck, but they're gonna give them support. So you won't see that thing where one ruler just has nothing, even though they should have support. So we a little bit better. I can't complain about that. All right, so then we go to the next one, and the next one starts talking about this thing called Divinity. So apparently now everyone knows about Charizard, Sherry. Some people hate Sherry, some people love Sherry, but overall people are like, Sherry has this thing that's been dominating the game, XYZ. This Grimoire thing that she gets this extra is causing problems. So they're like, wait a minute, what if we gave everyone Sherry's ability, but not really, but kind of, sorta? And that's what they end up coming with. They're called runes, and the runes, they haven't showed us a picture of it or anything, but they gave us like this chop off one. Runes effectively are what the Grimoire was for Sherry. There are cards that you can choose, and you can choose up to I believe they gave Divinity 10. So every ruler is going to have Divinity 10, at least from what they told us. And based on that number, that's how many runes you can put and what type of runes. Every rune is going to have a cost, and based on how much Divinity is how many runes you can set on the ruler. And once you set those runes, that's what the ruler has for X amount of time. I assume it's for the entire game. I'm pretty sure you can't change it out. At least I hope you can't change it out. But it will make it where everyone can customize their rulers to what they want them to be. And because of how that's going to work out, it's going to make it where if you want to use a superly good card, for example, it uses up so much Divinity, and then you can't use that card anymore, or you can't have that card. The difference between Grimoire and the runes is that the runes you can actually use as many times as you want once you flip them. So you can pay for that cost every single time. But you know, that's what you're gonna have. But the opponent side is also gonna have that. So that's what they were putting out. They had the Divinity thing. The Divinity counter is going to be in the same place where like the attack and damage would normally be on Resonators and Rulers and stuff. So it's not going to be that hard to differentiate. I'm not sure if they're going to have runes specifically for certain Rulers or not. But, you know, it should be easy thing. They're going to make it. It's going to be a thing for someone. Later on, they might make runes specifically for other Rulers because, you know, there might be a disparity in power. It's going to easily be able to tell who's more powerful than the other, like in the first set. So that's what they're going to do later on. And that's what the second part was talking about, basically. You have these rulers, they have these runes. Runes can be put on your side. There's going to be in a Grimoire deck. That's what you got. And then we move, actually, to the final and third part. Well, it was not the final, but like final for this video. The third portion of the invitation to Valhalla spoilers. Now, the third part actually gave us some meat. The third part effectively said, hey, here are these rulers. We're kind of tell you what the abilities are, but we're not going to fully tell you until you look at the site. And like I said, I'll go over deeper what they could be or what they will be in the next video when I'm talking about specifically the Valhalla Force of Will site. And then they actually like note stuff on there. But besides that, I'm going to tell you what they basically give. The first one is Country of the Sun, which is based on Norse mythology. And you have Minerva, that's your ruler. She worships Odin, and I think she falls under Brunhild. She's all Norse mythology. Her main thing is going to be low-cost resonators that probably stack up. And then they said they gain immunity to death. They don't really expound on what immunity to death is, but all I can assume for immunity to death is one of two things. Either they're thinking like regenerate from you know, like magic, or they could have indestructible, or it cannot be destroyed for X amount of time. It might be actually a keyword they put on cards nowadays, where they don't get, you know, don't get destroyed from battle. They might have the same ability like Zero, where, you know, Zero goes into battle, she doesn't take damage from battling, but she can be killed outside of battle, or right before damage is dealt, or right after damage is dealt, or whatever. The next, and that's a white ruler, clearly. The next one is Moonlight Paradise, Lunar Heaven, and this is the place basically done by Zeus. It's the Rome, you know, that whole Greek mythology, and the person that basically does this is the Angels, and the Angels actually is the resonator for Adam. You know, the rabbit dude from way back. He apparently brought the two people, Kaguya, someone else, to Lunar Heaven to actually stop it from being destroyed. They don't really say what exactly that fully is, and we'll probably find out in the stories, which I plan on doing more of. But that's effectively what they're doing with that. Then they say the city of Mirage, Sandora. Sandora's chief is Atum, and the ruler is Isis. So you have Isis. The whole place is basically totally not Egypt, totally Egypt, and it's all about fire. They do damage. That's their main thing. I'm probably going to play this one because she's Isis and she does damage and she's all about fire and stuff, but likely, you know, they won't, you know, that's her whole thing. She burns you. She probably has it where you can't prevent damage, kind of like Scarlet, or there'll be cards that combo with Scarlet that basically you can do crap tons of damage and they can't do anything about, or it can get rid of Imperishable. That might be what they have, where it burns away Imperishable. That's going to be cool. Now, this one is actually confusing. So, the chief god in the land of fiery ambition is Kunlun. Like Kunlun, the ancient place in the sky. I believe, have you ever seen Iron Fist? It's supposed to be like the secret mountain village that you can't get in unless you do a specific thing and jump through a specific portal. They're mainly about humans, beasts, and dragons. So that's your beast, dragons, tigers specifically. Beast, dragon, human deck. You just throw fire at somebody. And the ruler is Fuxi, Fuxy. If you don't know that, that's how Chinese is. And it's all about Chinese mythology. So that one's going to be like your dragons. That's going to be your revamp into like Aldebur, who, you know, who's all about fire and swordsmen and stuff. It's probably going to not have wanderers, but there's going to be like humans and dragons and stuff. Then the next one is Knights in the Castle Sky Round. Sky Round is God's Deus Ex Machina, so Machina shows up. I'm not sure if it's the same Machina, but I'm pretty sure it's the same Machina. And the ruler is Arthur, but he's like Mecha Arthur. He's like, what's his name? He's like Genos from One Punch Man. So Genos from One Punch Man is all about +1/+1 counters on their resonators. They're gonna all about dealing with +1/+1 counters, and likely is gonna have abilities where they can trade +1/+1 counters to do certain effects, like the other Blazer who has the ability to get rid of +1/+1 counter to cancel a chant, or a +1/+1 counter to make someone discard a card, or something like that. Or they can just move +1/+1 counters from one creature to the other. Well, not creature, resonator to the other. Something along like that. Well, you actually find out he is blue. For some reason, he's blue. I assume is because they say he has like this blue Merlin commander system in his brain that's like commanding him and everything. But I don't know why he's not colorless. I want him to be colorless. He's not. Then you have Loki, who's in the Forest of the Lost. Loki is the same Loki from way back in the other histories, way back in like regular Valhalla. Apparently, Loki was just a douche and decided to, mess things up, then leave, then mess things up again, and now mess things up here. Loki is both the god and the ruler, so you get to play Loki, your god, who is blue. Loki's all about fairy tales, and if you haven't noticed, Loki looks surprisingly like Moojart, or if you're off the top of your head, the freaking cat. Doesn't it look like Cheshire Cat? It looks like a variation of Cheshire Cat. It even has a tail. This whole time, Cheshire Cat might have been literally the one who caused all these problems, and that's why every time Cheshire Cat was like, "I'll be there," or "I'll be over here," or "I'll be on this place," something weird. Then we go to my favorite one, which I'm probably gonna play because it's ridiculous. The Village of the Spirit Away, or Koga. Koga's god is Basset, who I also like. So Koga and Basset, which is Egyptian, which is weird, is all about the Japanese stuff. It's cat ninjas. It's cat ninjas, and it's green. They don't really fully say what he does, but apparently he's gonna have like the jack of all trades, kind of more like the middle ground. I hope they don't make him quite like Sherry-like, or like R&R was way back, but it's probably gonna be like a combo ruler that you can either make aggro or you can make control. So it sounds more like the ruler is just gonna be mid-range, but you can switch based on what runes you put on them. Cat ninjas. The next one is the Forgotten Sanctuary Lost Isles, and it's the god Shiva, and the ruler is Chamimi. There are a whole bunch of people that say me at the end of their names. They're weird little creatures that lived in Indian society, and you have things like big elephants and probably big beasties, and it's clearly green. And their whole thing is about being vicious creatures coming at you. So it's probably going to be small creatures that build into big creatures, but the big creatures likely are going to have Pierce and like Bloodlust, so they have to attack every turn, or like Pierce and First Strike, or First Strike and Bloodlust, or something like that. They're going to have big, numbers, big damage, but then you have no control, so they have to attack every turn. We finally get to the two black ones, which are the last ones. You get the Ruins of the Never-Ending Rain. Rain Ruins. That's a terrible name, by the way. That's Chief God is Satan. Praise Satan, I guess. And his ruler is Lucifer, who I thought was the same person, but I guess they're different. And it's made by the people that have fallen angels and demons. So it's fallen angel demon land. And the ruler being Lucifer is all about getting rid of your hand. Now, of course, we've had rulers whose whole thing was getting rid of people's hands. You have Valentina, who's like messed with people's hands, killed things on field, take it over. Or we had Dark Alice, who was about killing people's hands, taking over the field, taking their shit and then hitting them for game. But Lucifer, by the way, the Lucifer they have on here, or I don't think this is Lucifer specifically, but they have a picture of a demon-like creature, and it looks like the same art from a webcomic long ago called it's like Soul Cartel. You need to go see that. It's actually like really good. But that's their whole thing. Is black is just discard. They don't really give us much more than that. I'll go in deep with another one. And then the last one is Bottomless Chasm of Death, the Abyss. Abyss God is Hell. The ruler is literally named Lich. He's undead Lich. He used to be a good guy. He got boned by Hell. Now he's a Lich. He's all about throwing mooks at you that die and come back. So they're probably the ones that actually have Regenerate. But if they don't have Regenerate, they have Come from the Graveyard for X effect, or play cards to give it from the graveyard, or get so many zombies. They're going to be all undead. They're going to be zombies and stuff. Lich is going to do Lich stuff. It's black. It's easy. So that's pretty much all of it. That's what they were revealing. Like I said, next video, This was all that stuff crammed in together, so you didn't have to think about the other videos or whatever to get whatever you need. It's just this. I'm hoping to see what the next ones are. I might actually do that one individually if it's more information, but this is effectively all it was. So I hope you had enjoyed time. And you know, comment, like, subscribe if you made it through all the way through this video. Thank you, I appreciate it. I can get more things done if you actually, you know, throw it to anyone else or subscribe or just watch the video, like it. Hey, I'll see you next time. May the Zen be with you.